Hey you guys, what's up? My name is Manak and welcome to my YouTube channel, Get Certified. For those of you who already know me and have already subscribed to my channel, thanks a lot. And for those of you who already haven't, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel so that you get all the latest videos updated right to your notification screen. And do not forget to hit the like button so that I know that you are really appreciating and understanding the videos that I make. So in the last video we almost completed the second chapter, which was debugging basics. Right before completing, right before the ending and going right to the quiz questions, I would like to talk about the important things which we discussed. So at the end of this chapter you would need to understand the difference between a breakpoint and a watch point for effective use of the debugger. Remember that a breakpoint refers to the actual code, either a statement or a point within the code, whereas a watch point is related to the value of a data object. It is also important to understand how checkpoint groups can modify the behavior of breakpoints. Well, another possible cause of confusion is the difference between external mode and exclusive mode. Remember that external mode describes the number of sessions opened within a logon screen, whereas an exclusive mode is what keeps the debugger in one work process within the server. Also remember that a non-exclusive mode will be rolled out between steps in the debugger and may switch work process. So let's now go to the quiz part of the tutorial. So here you go. So there are 10 questions. So if you guys want to pause the video and try and answer the questions yourself, go ahead. So the first question, the debugger displays maximum of 8 data objects at one time. So if you answer the question as option A, correct, which is true, is the correct option. So the classic debugger only allows a maximum of 8 objects. The new debugger allows an unlimited number of objects, restricted only by font and window size to be displayed at the same time. So guys, some of you might have answered false, as the new debugger has an unlimited number of data object display, but if you ever encounter a question discussing an ability or a limitation of the classic debugger, you should always assume that the question refers to the classic debugger and answer accordingly. If the question refers to a new debugger, the answer would be false, of course. So in the next question, a watch point stops program execution, executes anytime the condition specified is met. So the answer is B, false. Well, if you specify a condition, the watch point will not stop until the condition is true. So the watch point will not be triggered until the variable contents change. Therefore, if you set the watch point that is already true, the watch point will never be triggered. So the correct answer is B, false. Let's go to the third question. Before the classic debugger and the new debugger can be used on all ABAP code without restriction. So the answer to this is B, false. The classic debugger cannot analyze conversion exits or fill exits. It also has side effects with the search help, which is F1, and the value help, which is F4, and the list output. So let's go to the next question, which is question number 4. Under which circumstances, with all the classic debuggers start as a debugger? So select all that applies. So the correct answer is B and D. So if you already have 5 external modes in use, or more accurately when you only have 1 external mode remaining, the classic debugger is automatically started when starting another external mode would prevent further sessions from being created. If you have the default debugger specified as the classic, it will always start with this version. Alright, so next, let's go to the next question. What's the maximum number of watch points that can be set at one time? So the answer to this is B, 10. Only 10 watch point can exist at one point within the classic debugger. The new debugger has no limit, as I told you earlier. If you would have answered no limit, as in the case of new debugger, you would have also been correct. Again, if you encounter ever this type of question, you are expected to understand that this refers to the classic debugger and not the new debugger. So the correct answer to this would be B, which is number 10. So let's go to the next question. Setting breakpoints for a method or function module within the debugger allows the use of F for help to find the correct answer. So the answer to this is A. That's because with the new debugger executing in a separate mode, it has access to search shell that may be used for setting breakpoints. There is another twist to this question that you could have answered no if you would have referred to the classic debugger. Well, for this type of questions, if you ever encounter a question discussing the absence of an ability of the classic debugger, you should assume that the question refers to the new debugger and answer accordingly. So the next question is, all breakpoints are valid for the entire debugger session and all can be changed by the debugger. The answer to this question is A. And the breakpoints set in the editor can be changed in the debugger. Local breakpoints can be converted to either session or external breakpoints. So the correct answer would be A. Let's go to the next question. Is it possible to make multiple changes to data objects at the same time? The answer to this is A, true. If you say, for example, open up multiple data objects for change, pressing the enter key will accept all changes to all objects. So the answer is true, guys. So let's go to the next question. It says how many work area are available in the debugger. So the correct answer is 12. So the work area is also called desktop. So there are 12 desktop areas currently available for us. Let's go to the last question, which is the debugger is entirely self-contained and requires no external transactions. The answer to this is B, false. That's clearly because while the debugger is entirely self-contained for use, there are a number of helpful tools that require an additional transaction to allow the reusability in the debugger. Say, for example, SAAB is used to manage the checkpoint group, and SAS is used to manage debugger scripts, and SLAD is used to define object sets and profiles. So the answer is B, because it is self-contained, but it requires external transaction to launch with the help of SLAD or SS or SAB. Alright, so that was your small quiz. So if you have answered at least 6 questions correctly out of the 10 questions, you are on the correct path to get your next ABAP certification. So that's it for this chapter. We have covered quite a lot of debugging objects. So you should be at this point of time be able to examine the runtime behavior of ABAP program using the ABAP debugger. By examining the data objects within the debugger, it is possible to determine why a program behaves correctly or incorrectly. So if you determine the cause of the problem in the program, it is easier to provide a correction or a solution to this issue. If you design program with an eye to identify issues during testing through the use of assertions and checkpoint groups, your program will be easier to maintain and will produce fewer issues when they are in production. So that's it for this video. In the next chapter, we are gonna start with ABAP types and data objects, where we are gonna talk about the different ABAP types, the ABAP data objects, the local data types, the global data types, and the visibility related to the data objects. So slowly and steadily, we are actually getting into the coding part, where things are going to be a little more practical rather than theoretic. The first 2 chapters are a bit theoretic and things which you need to remember rather than actually having some practical coding. So it might be that it was a bit boring, but then it was important in the certification point of view, because you need to know quite a lot of things theoretically regarding the debugger and the nomenclatures. So in the next chapter, it's gonna be a little bit more practical, and then we can slowly see the use of ABAP data types and objects. And next we will cover the SQL statements and internal tables, which where things will be definitely much more practical and will be much more interesting. So anyways, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you like it, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like my video and don't forget to share with your friends. So see you in the next chapter. Have a great one, guys. Bye bye.